Hi, hello, I'm Amy. Welcome to or welcome back to my channel. I have a bit of a book haul for you today. I try not to buy too many books because I have quite the collection and I haven't read all of them yet, but it's hard to resist. Also, I had an idea to go visit any of the bookstores that we have in town because a lot of times I will buy from Amazon just because I'm a bit of a homebody, or Barnes & Noble because it's what I'm familiar with. But I did find a few. They're all used bookstores. One I haven't visited in probably at least 10 years. The other one I had no idea it existed. And then the last one I haven't gone yet because unfortunately they're closing at the end of October and they're only open for a day or two a week. So the day that I went, they were closed. But I did get their hours, so I'm hoping to actually visit them before they close. But I'm going to start out with what I got from Barnes & Noble, and we'll go from there. The first book I picked up, I've seen on several booktubers' favorites lists, and I don't read a lot of literary fiction, so I kind of want to expand on that a little bit, and so I picked up Pachinko by Min Jin Lee. This follows, I believe, 4 generations of a family that's been displaced from their homeland. I know a lot of people like this book, and I am ready to give it a try and see if I like it or not. The next book is also kind of literary fiction, as far as I know. Either that or it's a thriller, but I've seen it on several people's lists, and it's I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman. And I know we follow several women who have been, I don't know if they've been kidnapped, but they're being held underground and they don't remember how they got there. There's a younger woman that was a child when she was brought into this place, but it's a shorter book, and that's another thing that I don't have a lot of. So I'm looking forward to reading this one also. Next is another short book. It's The Graveyard Shift by M.L. Rio. I've heard mixed reviews on this one. It's just kind of a short, I guess, strange little book where you follow a group of strangers that usually meet in a graveyard to have their smoke break, and there's something to do with an empty grave, but it should be interesting. I do like the cover. It's kind of weird and unsettling, but it is cool. And then last from Barnes & Noble, I got The Ghostwriter by Julie Clark. Very cool edges. And this falls into my usual genre, which is more of a, I guess, I don't know if it's a thriller or not, but we follow a ghostwriter whose father is a prolific horror novelist, but in his past he had 2 siblings that were murdered, and I don't think he's ever told the full story of what happened when they died, but now his daughter is going to ghostwrite his last novel, and he's wanting to tell his story finally. So that sounds very interesting. I really like the cover. I really like the premise, and I might be able to get this on my TBR for October. That would be fun. Next are 3 books that I've gotten from Amazon. One is a sequel, The Enchanted Greenhouse by Sarah Beth Durst. This is in the same world as The Spell Shop, which I enjoyed. It was just a cozy fantasy. There was a talking plant, a librarian that was displaced from her library. She had taken several books with her when she left because it was being destroyed and she wanted to save them. But it was just kind of cozy and an easy read. a little bit of possible romance that was sparking between her and one of the locals where she moves back home. But I'm excited to see what happens in this one. Next book, I'm not sure if I'm going to like it or not. It's by the same author as Gothicana, or Gothicana. It's by Runix. It's called Enigma. Very pretty cover. Great edges. It's a dark romance. I don't know anything about the plot, but I thought I would give this author another try and see if I like this book any better than his or her other book. And then I also got Ruthless Vows, which is the second book after Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. This was on sale. I have not read the first book, so hopefully I like it enough to continue the series once I get to that point. But I do like the cover. I like it almost looks like typewriter keys. But that is it from Amazon. And then I have a Book of the Month book. I'll go ahead and open that. And this one is another one that I'm hoping to get on my October TBR. We'll see how my game goes this month. This video will probably come out after my TBR game video, but I wanted to film it beforehand so that I could get these opened. So first off, I have Volume 0, Issue 9 of the short story collection that is specific to the Book of the Month. I read the first issue this past month, so I'm kind of hoping to be able to get to the rest of those at some point. And then we have Play Nice by Rachel Harrison. Other than the fact that it's a haunted house book, I did read the synopsis when I chose it, but I don't remember exactly what it was. So we have Cleo Lewis Barnes leads a picture-perfect life as a stylist and influencer, but beneath the glossy veneer she harbors a not-so-glamorous secret. She grew up in a haunted house. Well, not haunted, possessed. After Cleo's parents' messy divorce, her mother, Alex, moved Cleo and her sisters to a house occupied by a demon, or so Alex claimed. That's not what Cleo's sisters remember or what the courts determined when they stripped her of custody after she went off the deep end. But Alex was insistent. She even wrote a book about her experience in the house. So it sounds fun, it sounds interesting. Well, I don't know how fun, but it does sound interesting, and it is perfect for the spooky season. So that one is Play Nice by Rachel Harrison. I'm excited to get to that one. And of course we have the bookmark, which is Plotting My Next Escape. Next I have several books from a bookstore called Constant Reader Books. It's a used bookstore. I didn't know it existed before I googled bookstores near me, but I actually found quite a few. So we will start with Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. I know this one is a pretty popular book, but I've never picked it up, and I'm anxious to see if I like it or not, and I know there's more in the series, so that is the first one. And then we have one that my daughter actually picked out, but it also sounded like something I would like to read. We have Feed by Myra Grant. And it says, Alive or dead, the truth won't rest. My name is Georgia Mason, and I am begging you, rise up while you can. The year was 2014. We had cured cancer. We had beaten the common cold. But in doing so, we had created something new, something terrible that no one could stop. The infection spread, virus blocks taking over bodies and minds with one unstoppable command: feed. Now, 20 years after the Rising, Georgia and Sean Mason are on the trail of the biggest story of their lives, the dark conspiracy behind the infected. The truth will out, even if it kills them. So, it sounded interesting. I don't usually read that type of book. I do read thrillers, but they're not usually, this one almost sounds zombie-ish. And then I got several. The rest of them are all by the same author. My daughter picked out another book also, but I don't know if it's still in the bag. But there is a series by Heather Graham. I don't know if this is actually part of it or not. I think it is. Of course, the first book I pick out is not from this series, possibly. But she writes paranormal romance. This one is The Betrayed. So one night, New York FBI agent Aidan Mahoney receives a visitor in a dream, an old friend named Richard Highsmith. The very next day, he's sent to Sleepy Hollow because Richard's gone missing there. Maureen Mo DeVille, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing her last name correctly, now lives in the historic town and works with her dog Rollo to search for missing people. She's actually the one to find Richard, or more precisely his head, stuck on a statue of the legendary Headless Horseman. Mo and Aidan, a new member of the Crew Hunters. Okay, so it is part of the Crew Hunter series. The FBI's unit of paranormal investigators explore both past and present events to figure out who betrayed Richard and who killed him, and now wants to kill them too. As they work together, they discover that they share an unusual trait, the ability to communicate with the dead. They also share an attraction that's as intense as it is unexpected, if they live long enough to enjoy it. So that is The Betrayed. And I'm kind of on almost a mission to collect all of her Crew Hunter books. I'm not going to read the synopsis to all of these, but they are, most of them are in the same world. This one is Dust to Dust. I don't think this one's part of it though. This one is The Prophecy Book 1. And then we have Wicked Deeds. Dying Breath. Fade to Black. The Presence. The Seance. And last, oh, this one must be the other one my daughter picked out. Dark Morning by William H. Lovejoy. I'm not sure if I'll read this one, but we have Dark Morning. A former U.S. Marine colonel turned World Health Organization official has just seen the first sign of it. An Israeli Shin Bet secret agent has just traced it to its source, and now the powder keg known as the Middle East is about to be rocked by its unleashing, a bacterial disease used as a weapon of terror. There's more to that one, but kind of along the same lines, I can't talk, kind of along the same lines as Feed. But yeah, those are those. So I got quite a few to add to my Heather Graham collection. That'll be nice. The last set of books I got from a secondhand store called The Book Rack. This one I have been to before, but it's been a really long time. I did manage to find a new book there, though that's typically not what they carry. I know you can order them through there. One of my best friends used to order books from them, if I remember right. But I got a couple of mystery bags, which I thought would be kind of fun. So we'll open those in a second. Very noisy. And then I picked one up that I have never read a Stephen King book, and this one intrigues me probably more than any of his others. I haven't watched the entire movie, but I've seen part of it, and it is Pet Sematary. So I'm a little intimidated to start this one, but also intrigued to see if I like Stephen King or not. And then I got a mystery bag of, or mystery 3 books. These are kind of fun, but you always run the risk of either not liking the books that are inside or possibly already owning them. So we'll see what I get. Oops. I'll just pull them out one at a time, even though it's very loud. Okay, first I got Suicide King by Shelley Singer. Cold Tracks by Lee Wallingford. And Fly by Night by Carol McT Wallace. Hold that a little differently. I have never heard of any of these. They're all in really good shape. But, yeah. So there's those. And then I also got one, I believe these are romance, because I've read From Mary Below before. So hopefully they're not ones that I already have. But I thought getting an author that I was familiar with would be good, because I remember enjoying the ones of hers that I've read, and she does historical romance. So we have Then Comes Seduction. At Last Comes Love. Almost sounds like they kind of go together. And last we have Only Beloved. And luckily I don't have any of these, so that should be fun. And I'll take care of that afterwards. I am not going to try and pick all of these up at the same time. So we have my Amazon and Barnes & Noble haul. And then my haul from the Constant Reader books, which definitely is a good chunk of books added to my Crew of Hunters collection. Excited to read some of those. They would be good for Halloween too, actually, because they're all paranormal. And then I have a mix of mystery, romance, and a Stephen King book from the book rack. But yeah, that is my haul. Quite a few books. There are a couple more books that I want to get from Barnes & Noble at some point. I would like to visit the Bonsai bookstore, which unfortunately, like I said, is closing at the end of October, but I would still kind of like to stop in and just check it out before it closes. I don't know if I'll have an opportunity to do that this week or anytime soon, but yeah, those were the books that I've picked up in the past month. I do not plan on doing this on a regular basis in the future, but just kind of a one-off thing perhaps. But let me know if you've read any of these, if any of them sound interesting to you, and I will hopefully get to read some of these in October. And thanks for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.